Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Sweden and we're going to return to one of the older craft breweries here in the country, and I think this beer will be quite interesting because this brewery are mainly known for English and German styles of beer, but recently they have been trying a few different American styles, and this is the second beer in that vein that I'm going to review for you here on the channel. So for this review then we are going to go to Örebro, out to the west of Stockholm, and we're having a look at another beer from Närke Kulturbryggeri. This one is the Näipa, because of course in Sweden you don't talk about an IPA, you talk about an IPA, and it comes in at 6.7% ABV, a New England style IPA. So yeah, really curious to see how this one turns out. Like I said, this is my second American style beer from these guys. The other one that I had was the last beer that I reviewed from them, the Rainbow Warrior, which I think was more of a West Coast type IPA if I remember correctly. So hopefully this one turns out to be interesting as well. I always like beers that make you think a little bit, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this one as well. So yeah, let's see how we go. So as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Närke Kulturbryggeri before. No doubt I will add some more at some point in the near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Närke Kulturbryggeri then, on to my brewery notes. So Närke Kulturbryggeri, as I told you before, are based in Örebro, to the west of Stockholm, and they were founded back in 2003, which makes them one of the oldest craft breweries here in Sweden. Before that, I think the only one is Nynäshamns own brewery from the Stockholm area, and in 2003 you do also have Oppigårds as well, who are one of the bigger by volume producers in Sweden these days. Do recommend you check their beers out. Do let me know if there are any other older breweries that are still on the go, because I'd love to review some of their beers, but you know, Närke, Nynäshamn and Oppigårds, I believe, are the three oldest in the country, but always open to finding more information on that. But yeah, this company was founded by Håge Wiktorsson and Berit Karlsson. Håge had a career as a photographer and an artist before becoming a brewer, while Berit is the CEO of the company, but also the chair of the Swedish Independent Brewers Association, the Sverige Oberoende Mikrobryggerier, if I've pronounced that correctly. I'm surprised that's not called a myndighet or something like that, but yeah. So for a long time, this brewery were only producing keg beer, but they've begun more recently to produce bottled beers as well, and this helped them grow substantially. I think they've been producing bottled beer for maybe about 5 years or something like that, but they started producing bottled beers rather after they bought the original brew kit and bottling machine from Nynäshamns own brewery. The last figure that I found for these guys in terms of production capacity was around 100,000 litres of beer per year. That may well have been expanded by now because they are releasing beers more regularly, I think, through the små partiers and the local and små skåligt assortments. So that figure is probably inaccurate, I would think, at the moment, and as I say, let me know if you know more in the description below. But this brewery are particularly famous for a beer called Kagen Stormax Porter, which was rated as the world's best beer for a long time. That particular beer was produced first back in 2004 as Stormax Port, but then when it was aged in bourbon barrels it became known as Kagen Stormax Porter. So yeah, quite an interesting one. Basically it's that, if you translate that, it means that the kegged big power, yeah, big strength, big power porter, yeah, strength, big strength porter, if you like. But as of April 2020, when I'm producing this review for you, they've produced around 150 different kinds of beer. I believe when I checked on Untappd beforehand, it was 147 was the exact number. But yeah, one of the older and more established craft breweries here in Sweden, but still pretty small in terms of production capacity, at least compared to some of the other ones that are there. But yeah, definitely cool. I always like this when you get some of the older breweries trying the new styles and things like that. There's a lot of that going on in Germany now, from what my friend Daniel tells me. You know, there's a lot of the breweries in different regions trying to brew beer styles from other places in Germany, which is very, very interesting. Of course, you've got the whole thing the new wave of craft breweries down there as well. And it's interesting in Scotland as well. You've got breweries like the Black Isle and Williams Brothers and things. They're starting to have a go at some more big flavour, adventurous beers as well, having been more kind of conservative, I guess you could say, in recent times. So it's interesting to see that that sort of trend is spreading to Sweden a little bit as well. I'm just wondering what we'll start to see from the likes of Nynäshamns Ölbryggeri and things like that too. Interesting times in Sweden, actually. So yeah, that's all you really need to know about Närke Kulturbryggeri for the moment. If you want to learn more, of course, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on. And of course, you can check out the Rate Beer and Untappd pages to see all the different beers that these guys have done. So yeah, let's get on and actually have a taste of this one then before we get on with it. So yeah, med anor från alla första början. I'm not sure exactly how I could translate that, to be honest with you. But yeah, the thing that I always like about the Närke Kulturbryggeri bottles is you get this thing. Inget bläsk. So yeah, not shit basically. So yeah, I like the artwork on this one. It's a bit more psychedelic, which is kind of cool. So yeah, that's like the inside of a kaleidoscope. But yeah, 6.7% New England IPA, this one, and yeah, should be pretty good. So it says this one contains corn and wheat malt, but it doesn't say that it contains havre or oats. So that's an interesting point about this one. I'm really curious. Maybe this is going to be a little bit more like a white IPA rather than a thingy, but I wonder, you know, we'll maybe be able to say a few things about the yeast as well. But nicely presented, this one, the typical half-litre bottle that you always get from Närke Kulturbryggeri. So let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting then. In terms of cost, I think this one might have only been about 30 crowns, maybe 40 at most. It wasn't overly expensive, this one, but you can smell straight away when you open this up. There might be a wee bit of like Mosaic or Citra or something, and there's definitely some nice big American hops in this. So exciting times for Närke Kulturbryggeri. But look at this. Let's see. Curious to see what yeast and stuff they've used in this as well. But yeah, that's just a little more than half of the bottle. That'll do for the moment. So yeah, as you can see with this one, and let me just check, is there sediment in the bottle? Oh, not really actually. Yeah, I was thinking maybe I should pour a little bit more into it, but no, it looked very clear when I was opening it up. But as you can see, this is definitely one of the darker looking New England IPAs you're going to get, and it's definitely not the most hazy that you're going to come across either. Actually, if I was looking at this, to be honest, I would say that in terms of its appearance, it looks more like a West Coast. It's got a little bit of haze to it, but it looks more like it is just a kind of unfined West Coast IPA in terms of its appearance. So yeah, quite a medium amber colour. This one, there's a solid half finger of a frothy, I would say almost ivory. Ivory, a bit too much of a pompous kind of colour to describe it, but yeah, nice kind of creamy ivory coloured head on this one. And yeah, it looks really quite nice actually. So one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass. You can see a few smaller ones going up towards the bottom of the head there. But overall, it looks pretty nice. But yeah, if we shine the light through it, it does have a good little bit of clarity. I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see that on the camera, but yeah, looks pretty good. One of the darker coloured New England IPAs that I've come across. So I guess this one might have a little bit of carapils or caramel or something in it. We'll need to see. But yeah, looks quite nice. Looks more like a West Coast IPA, as I said. But let's have a look at the aroma then and see how we get on. That actually smells really, really nice. I like the aroma of that. This really reminds me, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the likes of the Joker IPA. The malt base in this really reminds me of Williams Brothers back home. It's almost identical to Joker IPA. It really is. That's so strange actually. It's so strange. So yeah, it's got this lovely I didn't expect that from this beer, I have to say. I don't know if you can still get that beer in Sweden. You used to be able to get the Williams Brothers beers over here. I don't know, as I say, I don't know if you still can. But yeah, this one, it really smells a little bit like the sort of session type beers that you'll get from my local brewery back home, Williams Brothers Brewery. So yeah, lovely kind of bready base to the beer. It's definitely got that kind of sweet, biscuity, caramelly type note to it. I really did not expect that from this beer. I don't know, I'm thinking about this. Näipa. Did they actually, I mean, I've said in the video that this one's a New England IPA. Is it just meant to be like you know, the obvious thing, I was thinking the name, with the name of this one, it should, you know, it should be a New England IPA if it's called Näipa, because you've got N-E-I-P-A, that's the common thing here, that's the obvious thing with this beer. But this is really, this is going to be more like a kind of, I think it's going to be more like a West Coasty beer, but with a bit more of an English type malt base to it. I think that's what it will be like. But yeah, the malt base on this, I actually really like it. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a mix of like Maris Otter, Golden Promise, and there maybe some Turo from America as well. It's really got those big, kind of smooth, bready notes underneath, bit of a kind of bread and butter, diacetyl sort of thing, definitely. Bit of Werther's Original, little bit of a proper sweet caramel and things. So yeah, it's really quite interesting this in terms of its aroma. I did not expect that at all from this beer. I was expecting it to basically, when it said it only had wheat in it, I was really expecting it just to be a kind of straight up like more white IPA. So yeah, it's interesting when you get twisted events like this when you're doing beer videos. But yeah, I really like the smell of the malt base on this. I will say to Närke Kulturbryggeri, however the beer turns out, the malt base on this really, it's very nostalgic for me, like just like Williams Brothers back home actually. So yeah, this one, on the hoppy side of things, it's quite nice too. I mean, you have, you can pick up, there's a teeny little bit of earthiness there. It's got a nice kind of soft floral quality to it, but I think it leans more towards a kind of wet grass type aroma on the green side of the things. The fruity side of the beer is also quite interesting. You get a lot of, when you open the bottle up, you really get a lot of nice juicy American hops coming out of the beer. And it was a little bit kind of, it was a little bit sort of orangey, like tangerine, which of course it's most likely to be Mosaic or Amarillo. Something was telling me, there's something in my head telling me it was Mosaic. But now I'm in the aroma, I'm wondering if it is more of an Amarillo or more of an oily orange than a kind of lighter tangerine. But yeah, some wee bit of tropical fruit, but not overly much. I do find this beer more orangey in terms of its aroma. There's maybe a wee bit of you can get little hints of like a mangoey papaya type thing out of this. But yeah, to me it strikes me as more orangey. The thing that really dominates the aroma the further you go into it is the malt base. This is a more kind of malty leaning IPA in terms of its aroma. I really like how this how the aroma of this one goes together. So take a bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this. It is more like a kind of, it really does remind me of Joker, or the double Joker that we have back home from Williams Brothers in Scotland actually. This is really nice. As I say, a little bit more, the more I smell of it, there's more and more of the orange. It's got a little bit of that kind of tropical-y thing as well. But yeah, mainly oranges and a nice big kind of sweet malty smell in this one. Take a bit of time and enjoy that aroma, but we are going to get stuck into this one now. So this one is the Näipa. What I thought was going to be a New England IPA, what I now think is going to be more like a kind of English type IPA with American hops in it. Coming in at 6.7%, released in April 2020 from Närke Kulturbryggeri in Örebro here in Sweden. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål. It is quite different actually. It has, you know, it has the same sort of vibe about it to the Williams Brothers beers, but the flavours come out really quite differently. You know, I like things like this. You know, I think, you know, as I say, I kind of jumped the gun by thinking, oh, this is going to be a New England IPA. Going by the name, I'm sure I read actually somewhere on the Systembolaget or something, they had it down as a New England type IPA. But you know, this one, it is more like a kind of modern take on the. It is more like a modern take on the kind of English IPA almost. It's like an English based IPA, but with more American hops in it. So that's interesting. I mean, I've said this as well. I've never liked English bitters as a beer The ones that I've liked actually have been the Örebro bitter from these guys and the Bideru bitter from Nynäshamn, because they use the American hops in them. So maybe there is hope for the English, the traditional English IPA, if they use American hops in them. Instead, I've never been, for me when it comes to English beers, it's more about the porters and the stouts. Sometimes the brown ales are pretty good, and I think some of the milds I think were quite interesting. I was never a great fan of the bitters, but then again, maybe I just need recommended a few properly good ones to look at that. If that's the kind of beer you're into, Terry's Quick Beer Reviews, you want to check out, make sure you have a look at him. But yeah, this is really, really quite nice actually. It's a very nostalgic beer for me. It really does remind me of my local brewery, Williams Brothers, and the more I drink of it, the more it kind of gets like that. Just different types of grainy flavours coming out in this one. So yeah, let's try and break down the flavour then. Straight away with this beer you can feel that nice kind of brown bready quality, that just blankets the middle of your tongue. As you go further into the aftertaste, you can feel the sort of more toasty bread crusty notes. It does dry out in the middle of the palate, but as you go right into the very centre of the tongue, lovely big sweet caramel note there. And as you move further out from that, it does become a little bit more like Werther's originally, fudgy almost actually. Yeah, definitely some of these nice big kind of lighter brown sugary notes coming out of the beer. As you get further towards the edge from that, there is a little bit of a McVitie's digestive sweetness to this one, but overall it's quite, it really is nice how this goes together. But yeah, the malt base of this, as I say, if you like Williams Brothers, you will enjoy this one. That's a very kind of niche reference to make, but I don't know. For those of you watching in Sweden, I know the Joker IPA was over here, the Caesar Augustus was here. I don't know if the Birds and the Bees or one of the other ones might have been over here, but yeah, have a go at if you want to go at my local brewery, which is obviously a long shot because in Sweden you've got so much good quality beer already. But yeah, this one really is a little bit like Joker IPA. This review, this is one that I will remember because I'll remember this review quite fondly, I think. But yeah, love the malt base on this, I really do. So nostalgic. But yeah, let's get the rest of that in there. Bit of a harsh pour. But aye, look at that. So yeah, hoppy side of things then. Back corners of the palate, you do get a little bit of earthiness there. It does make me wonder if it's mosaic because it has that distinctive quality to it. As you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, the earthiness just smoothens out a little bit. You start to get some nice, some more kind of darker grassy notes out of the beer. More floral qualities on the front corners of the palate, and then as you go round the front curve of the tongue, it's just that little bit lighter and grassy. The way that some of the grassiness and the floral qualities come out on this, I do wonder if it's a little bit more like a I do wonder if it's a little bit more like a kind of, how would you say, I think there might be a bit of Cascade in this, to be honest with you. It's got that typical kind of citrusy note to it as well. I love Cascade, and Williams Brothers do use that as well. But one of my favourite beers from back home was the Schiehallion from Harveston Brewery. It's basically a Cascade Pilsner, or Pilsen, I should say, because it's a Czech style Pilsner rather. So yeah, I've got quite a knack for picking up Cascade because obviously I used to drink those beers quite regularly. I'm pretty sure there's Cascade in this, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mosaic is the other one. There's just some of the way that the floral character is, that kind of quite bright floral quality, and then some of the way the kind of more citrusy notes are coming out as well. I'm pretty sure there's Cascade in this. Maybe it's the bittering hop, and then the Mosaic's being used as a dry hop. I think I would suspect that with this. But yeah, around the front curve of the tongue, as I say, it's a little bit lighter and grassy, and as you go behind the front curve of the tongue, it's a little bit more kind of oily and fruity there. At the back part of the palate, you can definitely pick out a little bit of that darker kind of grapefruity quality there, and as you move further forward, that gradually fades away and just gives way to a kind of more orangey quality for me. There are one or two little elements of like tropical mango, like, as I say, papaya, a little bit of Yeah, a little bit of papaya mango there. It's kind of, as I say, you start off with the grapefruit, it does get a little bit more lighter and tropical, and then on the front, kind of the really front part of the palate, it's definitely more oily and orange. I think it's, as I say, the little bit of earthiness that it has makes me wonder if it's mosaic that's giving you the orangey notes, but then again the oiliness of the orange makes me wonder if it's Amarillo. I'm really not sure about that. There's obviously other hops that you can have that give you orange: Azaka, Sabro, Mandarina Bavaria, Waiti Pacifica from New Zealand, the Styrian Dragon from Slovenia maybe as well. But yeah, you know, there's lots of hops that can give you orange. This is just a game I like to play when I'm trying these beers. The orangey notes in this are really nice. This is a really nostalgic beer for me, this one. It really, as I say, really reminds me of Williams Brothers, and it is, in terms of its style, I think more like a kind of, it's like an English IPA with a bit of an American hop in it. I mean, it really has the same vibe as it's got the same vibe to it for me as I got from the Badero bitter and the Örebro bitter. That's the real vibe that I get out of this beer. So yeah, I really like how this one goes together. It's solid for me. It's, as I say, very nostalgic. If you're into your big kind of hazy juice bombs and stuff like that, or the big dank West Coast IPAs, this one really isn't going to be for you. This is one that I like just because of my sort of gateway beers, if you like. But yeah, in terms of the kind of mouthfeel with this one, I'd say this is quite, it's at the top end of mid-bodied. Don't know if it's quite fair to describe this one as full-bodied, but definitely a kind of big mid-bodied beer, this one. Carbonation has a good bit of smoothness to it, really big oily mouthfeel for me rather than anything else, and that suits the kind of sweeter aspects of the malt base, the sort of Werther's originally caramelly type flavours, and it also suits the orangey side of the beer as well. In terms of the hoppy bitterness, I think we're talking maybe, I think this is maybe about a 30 or 40 IBU beer, not high, the typical kind of bitterness that you would get from the New England ones these days anyway. Malt base, like I say, a little bit of breadiness underneath. The more you drink of this beer, you get a kind of brown bready quality out of it. You really can feel that thickening up as you go further into the flavour, but nice big oily brown sugary note in the middle of the palate. Then it smoothens out, becomes a little bit more fudgy, Werther's originally type as you go later on, then a nice big oily fruity juicy quality to the beer as well. This one for me, as I say, I really like it because of my gateway beers. And those of you who are into, you know, the really kind of beast beers, this probably isn't one for you. This is a nice kind of sessionable relay take, I guess you could say, on the IPAs. But I like that. I mean, as I say, my local breweries were doing these kind of things, and this is what I got into as well. So maybe not one for the beer geeks, this one, but I think this, in terms of a, you know, being a sort of chilled out beer, a bit more old school, I guess you could say, this is one that will kind of tick the boxes for you. If you like the Badero bitter and the Örebro bitter, this could be an interesting beer for you to take the step up to something a little bit different. So yeah, I can't remember exactly what I said about the Rainbow Warrior when I think about it, but this one I think is really quite nice. So thumbs up to Närke Kulturbryggeri for this. I think they've pulled off quite an interesting beer. So yeah, thank you again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from the Närke Kulturbryggeri as well. I will keep an eye on these guys and see what they're releasing over the next little while, but for the moment, thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Make sure you check out my social media, make sure you check out Närke Kulturbryggeri. This one was the Näipa, coming in at 6.7% ABV from Närke Kulturbryggeri in Örebro, out to the west of Stockholm here in Sweden. Was thinking this one would be a New England IPA, but it's really more like a kind of modern take on the old English IPA, come to think of it, like an old real IPA. Slàinte, skål, cheers, catch you guys very soon.